everyone, thanks for submitting to DreamsFest 22. This is Beard of Cats 88, and you're watching the Campground Guidelines tutorial. This year, the campground at DreamsFest 22 is getting a bit of an upgrade. You'll notice that in addition to our single tents, you can also create a group tent this year. That means you can team up with up to 6 of your buddies and create a group canopy so everyone is sleeping under the stars together. In addition, we're also allowing you guys to create the interior of your tent as well as the exterior, and you'll be able to actually add sculpts into your tent this year. So it's a much needed upgrade, and we hope that you guys go nuts with it and give us all those wonderful creative tents like you did last year. We're going to look into each template in just a minute, but first I just want to point out the 2 sets of thermo limits here. For all 4 of our tent pieces, which are these 4 right here, these are the thermo limits. You have gameplay 1%, graphics 3%, and audio 0%. If you're doing a group canopy, this percentage is for the canopy itself, and then each tent can have this thermo as well. So depending on how many players you are, your overall element will be more than this. As long as each piece sticks to these thermo guidelines, you will be good. All right, we'll take a look at the group canopy in a second, but first we're going to go to single tent 001. Now these are compatible together, or if you just like the single tent on its own, you can use it as a single tent. So let's take a look at that. Okay, the 4 tents that we're looking at were all created by Liam S470, a DreamsFest team member. And one of the first things you'll notice here is this logic chip. So for your tent, we would encourage you to put your name in this text displayer. That means that when the player approaches your tent, your name will pop up right here in this doorway, and you'll get credit for your amazing tent. There's some other logic in here which is frozen. We ask that you leave that alone. It is perfect as is. We will also be allowing the player to view your tent through a camera. So I definitely encourage that you guys scope into that and just take a look at the view that the player will have. Please do not alter the camera. We want to keep this consistent between tents, but it's there for you so you can see what you're working with. Okay, lastly, you'll notice this teleporter here. This teleporter is to be used with the group canopy if you're doing a group tent. So it is not frozen. It's available for you to use should you be creating a group canopy. Okay, in order to decorate your tent, you can, as I mentioned, put sculpts into your tent. We do ask that you scope in once, and anything that you add goes inside the tent in this layer. You are also able to spray paint or add surface snap paint to your tent. We ask that you use no physical paint because that can be a thermo killer, and also that all of your paint is surface snap so it's not jutting out and crashing into other elements in our scene. Okay, when you're all done with your tent, you will save this as public, remixable, unlisted, and you will send this to Beard of Cats 88 again as an element, and we will put it into DreamsFest 22. Now, like I mentioned, if you will be creating a group canopy tent, each of your team members will create one of these single tents designed just for you. And then when all team members are ready, you will load those into our group canopy, which we will now take a look at. All right, here's our group canopy. Now, Liam, who created our template, gave you guys some excellent directions here, both in text and in audio. If you'd like to hear his directions, which I highly recommend, you will play time and you can hear that.
Hi everybody, this is Liam from the DreamsFest team.
Alright, but I'm just going to give you a quick rundown right now of the group canopy tent. So as you can see, each archway here will match up perfectly with one of the single tents that we just looked at. As I mentioned in the other element, we will use teleporters to teleport your tents into their proper position. So you will just change the teleporter to match the tag number that you would like your tent to go to. Now, what if you have a group but you don't have 7 people? That is quite all right. You'll notice that we've included these doorways for you here, so you can clone this as many times as you need. You can alter its tag, and your doors will teleport where you want them. Okay, as I just mentioned, there are 7 archways. That means you can have up to 7 people in the group canopy. This archway here in the front is actually the door to the canopy so that players can walk into your canopy. So please do not block that. This tent will not have a camera, so players will be able to freely walk in, but once they enter your single tents, the cameras will activate that I showed you earlier. Okay, so that is our group tents. Let's take a look at the rest of our templates. Okay, we'll go to 2 next. Okay, so here is tent 2, a nice triangular tent. Most of our rules that we just mentioned still apply here. When you first open your tent, remember to open up this chip and change your name. Again, view the camera so you can see what the player will see. I would even recommend that you guys actually stamp in a puppet so you can see the correct sizing of things. You can see what the player will block and what will be seen. So it's just a good thing to do before you finish off your tent. Okay, when you are all done with your tent, again, you will save this as a remixable element, unlisted, and send it to me, Beard of Cats 88. Let's look at tent 3. Again, this has the same logic as the other tent that we just looked at. You can take a look at your camera to see your view. And now we will move on to the beachside bungalow. So the bungalow was created by another DreamsFest team member, XX Huggable Panda, who did a fantastic job with the beach resort. Now, these are going to be waterfront properties at DreamsFest, a little bit hoity-toityier. But with that comes a bit more rules. Think of this as the gated community of DreamsFest. Your thermo limits are a bit higher for this, as I mentioned earlier. You can go up to 6% graphics, although I should mention that it actually starts at a higher graphics count, starting at 3. So just like the other tent, you have 3% to add whatever you want into your tent. Unlike the tents, this bungalow does not have a text displayer that'll pop up when your player enters your tent. Instead, we gave you guys this nifty little sign here. You can alter the sign, you can change the shape of it. We do ask that you include your name on it so it will be identifiable as your bungalow. The beachside bungalow is not just for single players. This could also be a group bungalow. So if you want to have bunk beds in here or whatever you want to have, you can have more than 1 people in your bungalow. The front of your bungalow is actually frozen, so this bungalow comes in 2 different pieces, the interior and the exterior. The interior is yours to change. You can paint it, you can spray paint it, you can add sculpts in. As long as you're within those thermo limits, you can alter the inside of this to look just how you want. We just ask that you don't touch the outside. Again, gated community mentality. We want to keep these all uniform. However, there is one exception. If you would like, you can put some elements outside of your bungalow on the front side, leaning against it. So if you want to put like surfboards or bicycles or whatever you want, leaning against the outside of your bungalow to give it a bit more personality, feel free to do that. Alright guys, I believe that covers anything. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Beard of Cats 88, or any other member of the DreamsFest team. We would love to help you out. This was such a special part of DreamsFest last year, and we think with these new rules, it's going to be even more creative, even more special than it was the year before. So we hope you guys have a blast with this, and we can't wait to see what you guys make. Alright guys, until next time, I'm Beard of Cats, and let's get those submissions coming. See you guys soon.